Hello everyone, welcome back to a new video, and today we have something that doesn't make much sense to me, but I interviewed LionMaker. Yeah, I don't get it either. Anyway, cutting to the chase, how did this happen? Well, it all started when he responded to a comment I made on his channel.
As you can see, they're quite fresh. 4 seconds ago, 3 hours ago, 9 hours ago, 13 hours ago, and I got over 1,300 comments to go. So I'll read a few of them, and then I'll explain why I delete them and how I kind of process. So here we go. So WackyTV says, interesting how the dislikes are more than the likes, but not a single comment is criticism against you. It is possible that you are going to shadow ban this comment, and if you do, thank you. It will help me in my video for evidence. See, the reason I find these very humorous, and obviously I will be deleting that comment because it's a useless comment with nothing to stand on. And it's one of those like, yes, please delete my comment so you can prove my point. I bet that, like, it's the whole thing of like, I bet if you delete this comment, that proves I'm right. You don't get to decide that. You don't get to manipulate your comment into my comment section. I don't need any other reason other than I don't want that comment on my page for that comment not to be there. I shouldn't even be having to justify this, to be fair. But I wanted to humor myself, and you know, I want to use as much as I can for entertainment purposes, so let's do it. So WackyTV, make your video, do what you gotta do.
And then I made my response via video because, you know, he took the bait pretty hard and it was pretty funny. So yeah, the comment was bait and it definitely worked very well. Even though this was 11 months ago, it's sometimes bait takes its time, people. Just have your patience. Anyway, he commented on my video recently saying, let's talk. And I saw this and I was thinking, wait, this can't be LionMaker. His channel's been terminated twice. There's no way this is him. But it turns out his channel's being reinstated. And it has been for the past 3 days. And apparently only he found out recently too. So I had replied with what about, and then he had said, just saw your video and I just got my channel back. Must have been something I sent you back then, it just got through. Do you actually want to talk? I'm down for a calm voice call, not one where you get angry and nothing happens. Sure, we can chat. I'm in a different place now. Cool. What's your Discord? Send it over. I sent you an email. Yeah, and he did. He sent me the email of his Discord, which I'm not going to show, obviously. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I present to you the LionMaker interview. Okay. LionMaker, thank you for coming on. Not many people would, especially people in your situation. So, starting off, back in 2015, you were exposed. Is that the right term to use at the moment? Exposed, or let's say outed, for being in an intimate relationship, as you put it, with someone that I won't name unless you want me to, because I know we spoke privately and you didn't seem comfortable with that subject, so I'm going to try and skip over that as quickly as possible.
Well, I guess if we're going to go that far back, the right way of putting it is that I exposed myself, didn't I? I made some wacky tweets.
Yes, you claimed to have been hacked at the time.
Where basically I blatantly admitted, you know, that I had been in a relationship with Paige the Panda. Yeah.
Do you regret this relationship in any way?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I don't regret it so much in the sense where like I just regret that I didn't have the decency and the maturity to realize, you know, what I was putting not only Paige the Panda through, but everybody else that was then involved as well. So I definitely feel like I was in a place where I just completely overlooked the immoral, like, weight of what my oblivious decision was to, you know, have some sort of intimacy with a girl that was 11 years younger than me.
And how old were you at the time? Just so we have proper details in this.
Well, 2015, I'm 33 now, it's 2021. I think I was 26.
26 years old, and she would have been around 15 then, or 14, if she was 11 years younger than you.
15, yeah.
15, yes.
But that's, I mean, that's when I met her.
Is it when you say meet?
No,
Do you
no,
mean
no. Hold
IRL
on.
or online?
Well, hold on, because she's from 1999,
She's from
right?
nine. Yes, okay.
So she would have been 16 then. But I had met her before that.
Okay, and you guys did meet in public, didn't you? Or in person, let's say.
We met, yeah, after she turned 16, I went to England to visit her, yeah.
And did her mum know about this?
She did. Yeah.
Was she completely fine with it? Because obviously, most people have seen her go on Drama Alert and lose her shit.
That's not her mother.
That wasn't her mother.
No, that's a different, that's a completely different story.
Oh, okay.
That is not Paige's mother, no.
Well,
That's actually
if that's correct,
that's a,
excuse me, I didn't know that. My apologies.
yeah, that's a Swedish, that was a Swedish mom, and that had to do with like a different, that was even before the whole Paige thing, actually.
She was saying that actually wasn't her mother. So did she have any relation with Paige at all?
No, no. But
So,
I don't think, but Paige never said that was her mother neither. Like, Paige's
no,
mother
but
has,
I've seen her video that she made about the whole situation. I never saw her like deny it or anything. But I swear in the
but
video
that,
you
but
hear her mum
that,
talk and it sounds just like the lady in the interview.
no, the person you're hearing in her video is her sister-in-law.
Right. Okay.
And
Is
the mother that went on Keemstar's to talk about her daughter, that was
yeah.
that's a Swedish mom. She doesn't claim to be Paige's mom.
Oh wow. Okay, I did not
I
know
mean,
about this.
Keemstar's video is still up, I think. It's
It is. It's
but that,
still up to this day. Yeah.
but it's I'm glad you bring that up because there's a lot of confusion around that. Like a lot of people think that that's Paige's mother, but that's not her mom.
Do you have any sources to claim that this actually happened? Like, is this actually out anywhere? Do people actually know about this, or has this just been bringing up now? Like, I haven't heard anyone ever say that's not her mother.
I've many times before kind of mentioned it, but
Oh, I can
people don't
imagine
really.
you've said it. Yeah, if you said it, but do you have anyone else that has
But
claimed it?
people don't really pay attention. Yeah, no, no. No,
Well,
I think it's
yeah.
because a lot of people just kind of look at the whole thing. They want to quickly, just talk about it, and then. But no, that's. I can say that, with 100% confidence, that is not Paige's mother, and I don't think Paige would never claim that to be her mother neither. And I think if people rewatch that video, and you see the time frame as well, it's like has nothing to do with Paige the Panda.
Okay. Alright, well, moving on from now, after Keemstar's video came out in 2015, which I believe was, the interview was in 2015, then after that, obviously, most of the commentary community at the time were talking about it. People such as Pyrocynical back in 2015 made a video on it. I'm sure Leafy did, but I can't find, obviously it's not in there now since his channel's gone, which I'm sure you're over the moon about. And then, okay, moving on to 2016, February, I believe it was, a commentator by the name of Klossler's Crazy made a video on you, discussing the whole situation, and
Indeed, yeah.
you got in contact with him, or he got in contact with you to do an interview, which was around 2 hours long, and it's still up to this day. And in that
Indeed,
entire
yeah.
interview, you talk about basically what we're talking about now, only not as in depth, because we're kind of past all that, and most of the stuff, I don't want to repeat everything that he has, and I'm sure you don't want to go through all that either again. So, but a lot of the stuff that I brought up, you mentioned that you were suing Keemstar, and as I told you in another video that I saw by someone called Turkey Tom, showed that you said in one of your streams that you weren't going to sue, and you never did sue Keemstar, and your reaction to his stream with Leafy.
Yeah.
So
Like I told you before. I mean, did I want to sue Keemstar? Yeah, for sure. Did I fantasize about suing Keemstar? Sure, but it never happened. I don't think I had what I needed to do a sue against Keemstar. I think Keemstar does his thing in a way that is, very smart, where it's just like you can't hold him accountable for anything because he doesn't willingly say that he came up with the information. He's always kind of using information from other
Do you
people.
personally think you actually would have won if you were to sue him?
No, I don't think so.
No, because obviously on his side, the evidence isn't as damning on because what were you suing her, defamation? I'm assuming you were going to sue him for defamation of character.
Yeah, I guess for lying, or you have to understand that back then as well, like I was being surrounded by people that were telling me like, oh, this is defamation of character. He can't just say that. You can sue him for that. And I think a lot of us just, there's been a lot of these cases happening throughout the last few years, like the 6 years that have passed, that I think people are a lot more educated on what you can sue and how you can sue in these kind of cases. But back then, that was so new and fresh that, the big thing to retaliate and to say back is like, "Oh, I'm gonna sue you," but it was very naive, and very, very kind of stupid, to put it simply, on my part, to think I can sue Keemstar on what ground. Yeah, I didn't like what he was saying, but it's not like he was making things up about me and saying that he thought that. He was just kind of regurgitating what other people were saying, like
Well,
just
he
reporting
was
stuff, right?
reporting like he
Like he's
does,
just
yeah.
reporting stuff. So the only thing that I once felt like I could use against Keemstar was about a year ago when he was in a live stream with Leafy, where he blatantly says that um, that I made an international lawsuit against him, and then he gathered with all my victims and then fought back and won the lawsuit, and he put me in jail. Like, to me, still today, I'm just kind of in shock how he thinks he gets to say that when that just blatantly never happened. I was never in a lawsuit with Keemstar.
Right. Obviously, no, not many people can comment on that since no one actually knows what goes on behind the scenes between you and Keemstar. It's only your word against his. But
Well, the timeline doesn't make much sense neither, you know.
yeah, I understand. But do you
Yeah.
still? I assume you still resent Keemstar, and you obviously still don't like him, do you? I don't think dislike would be a word that
No,
you would use.
I think I'm a little indifferent to him at this point because I understand, what he does. It's what he does,
Do you
and
mind
he's
telling me what he actually, uh, besides like what was actually wrong with him reporting? Like, how did it actually end up with you saying you're going to sue him with him just reporting what happened? If you don't mind me asking.
Could you rephrase that?
Uh, so Keemstar's made his video back in 2015 reporting all of that.
Hmm.
Is was you planning on suing him right after that video, or was there more than that? Like, was there actually what was you like? Were you gonna sue him because of that video? Is what I'm trying to say. The first video he ever made on you.
No, the first video not. I think
Did
it's
you
when
do you have a
he's
problem with that video?
well, a problem with it. It's not a great video. It's a video where, he talks about me trying to reach out to underage people for, for explicit pictures or videos, or I don't remember exactly what he said. But I I think from just a moral point, like I can understand it. If I gotta play devil's advocate, I can see where he's trying to like, be protective of the community and call, dodgy people out. And we've had enough of like really weird people online that should be called out. Um, but yeah, I don't know, man. It's weird. It's weird to think about, and it's weird to even put myself in that position again. But it's just Keemstar doing what Keemstar does. I really don't know what to say about it.
I suppose a lot of it, a lot of your anger at the time probably came to a lot of the shit you were getting to because I'm
I
sure you
mean,
got a
was
lot more
I
shit.
was I was I angry or just terrified? Was I just completely afraid of what was happening and the things being said? I think a lot of me was just being in fear and just trying to play scare tactics, trying to kind of retaliate aggressively back to try and scare people. But obviously that doesn't work. But
I
that
do remember at the time in your interview with Colossal, you had claimed you've been diagnosed with BPD. If that was that true?
yeah, but that seems a little irrelevant. I mean,
No, no,
whether
no. Yeah, I can see it's a bit relevant, but I was just wondering if that was true, but because obviously some people can use that to excuse certain actions by saying, look, I'm on this
No,
medication.
it just explains, that I have something. It doesn't justify it. It doesn't justify my behavior whatsoever.
And
I think it was back then and still is today my responsibility to, especially if I know that I have, borderline, then it's up to me to take action and take care of myself to make sure that my instabilities don't get in the way of my day-to-day life. And I wasn't doing that back then. I wasn't taking care of myself. So it is 100% my fault that if I was behaving in a certain way and I was acting a certain way and I was saying certain things, it's not because of my borderline. It's because of my lack of responsibility in making the choice of taking care of my mental health rather than, be in the spotlight and be a part of the drama. That was a very big mistake on my part, for sure.
I think it was good that you at least responded to it instead of pulling a mini lad and pretending none of it's happening. That seems to make the situation worse. But
I think there's no right way of doing these things.
I mean, obviously, in
Especially,
your case, there is. I don't think there can be a right way because obviously people see children as the victim no matter what the situation is, and I have to agree with them. That is completely how it should be. I mean, wouldn't you agree with that?
no, of course, yeah.
Yeah. So obviously, people are going to get angry when they feel like a child is being manipulated or abused in any way. So obviously, the public would lash out no matter what you have to say. And for that, I do have to actually understand that. I understand your side too, but I do have to kind of side with the people that obviously are angry with you about that. And I'm sure you've been angry at yourself because of all this. Am I wrong with that?
Yeah, I definitely have a lot that I resent, and mostly towards myself for making choices that I could have avoided, absolutely could have avoided. Um,
We,
it's so
I,
it's so difficult to kind of try to explain to people like this is not my nature. This is not what I was seeking out. I wasn't specifically seeking out someone that was a specific age, someone that was younger than me, and that is what I'm into when that is what happened. It's hard to then try to explain to people that that is not the specifics of what I was after. I think back then in the state of mind that I was and how I was feeling, you know, just having the company of someone made me feel somewhat kind of soothed. And in a very selfish and extremely like irrational and immoral stance, I went like, okay, this will do. When I should have had the responsibility to draw the line and say like, okay, this is not right. You're kind of taking advantage of this person wanting to be there for you. You feel lonely, but it is not their responsibility, especially at that age, to fill that void. But because it happened with someone that age, how do you explain to people like that is not what I was seeking? I wasn't necessarily I didn't know what I was looking for back then, you know. Eh, Nothing that I none of the borderline or none of the alcohol, none of the drinking, none of it justifies anything I did. It can give some sort of an explanation of why my behavior was the way that it was and why I was so erratic and all over the place and emotional and doing crazy live streams. But the simple matter of the fact is that it happened, people got hurt. It's a really shitty situation because regardless of what my you know intent was or not, those are the people that got hurt. And in this case it was Paige, right? But it something that a lot of people get to seem to get confused about is that it was a very isolated case. Like I very in the confused state that I was then actually cared and genuinely wanted, some form of relationship with that girl, but it wasn't that I was seeking out that type of relationship and I was doing that with a bunch of different people. Like it only happened with her and she's the only one that I ever had that with. You know, People make it out to be that I had a bunch of victims or I reached out to a bunch of people, but that's also not true. That
I
never.
get I get that. Yeah, it does sound worse when it says that LionMaker has a bunch of kids under his wing, but when you're claiming it was only just Paige. But do you really think that justifies everything completely though with it by saying that it's just Paige?
No, like I said,
Like,
there's nothing that justifies that.
so
Absolutely nothing.
back in 2015, or I believe it was one of the 2016, 2015, whatever. You claimed to be hacked. I'm assuming this is not true, correct?
No, I never got hacked.
You
No.
never were hacked.
No.
So that means that you were the one to post the explicit pictures.
Yes, yeah, it was me.
Talking about why did you do that? Why? Because that was you, like you said, exposing yourself. So, like, why?
Yeah, I mean, why? The only thing I can kind of explain to a certain extent is just being in a very angry, vindictive, and manipulative state of mind. You know, where in the midst of like just being so overwhelmed by my own emotions, where I just felt like I was in the right to kind of express my anger in the way that I did,
But why were
which
you
is
angry?
which is really fucked up. Probably because of some really stupid disagreement that I had with her.
So this was like a relationship argument, you could say, and this was you getting her back
Yeah,
in it.
exactly. Yeah, which is extremely abusive. It's a very manipulative and very controlling thing to do, to just expose her
And
the way
how
that
old
I
was she
did.
in this photo?
16. Pretty sure she was
16,
16. But it doesn't
16.
matter. I mean, anything posted on the internet underneath 18 is considered child pornography.
Yeah. Do you think what you did deserves prison time, or would you say that there's more to it than that, and it's not just like in a nutshell? Would you think it deserves prison time for what you did? That in that picture alone, doing what you did by posting it.
I think it's difficult to say what is deserved and what isn't.
Because
Um,
obviously I would say, like you said, anything below 18 could be considered child porn. To me, that is
mhm.
illegal, wouldn't you
It is.
say?
It is, yeah.
And did you face any proper repercussions apart from shit online, like law-wise, with that photo being
Yeah,
like?
I faced the law. There was an extensive investigation that lasted for 10 months, and those were the 10 months that I was also arrested. And
Were you in jail at this point?
yeah, I mean, there's always been this discussion about like the difference between jail and prison, right?
Yeah, jail and prison is
But
not the same. I
yeah,
understand.
so in Belgium they have this system that when you're under investigation, they'll keep you locked up in something they call an arrest house. It's not
Okay.
even a jail. It's not even really a jail or a prison, but it's exactly the same. I mean, you're in a cell. You only get an hour walk a day, um, and you get like to do a phone call once in a um, while they investigate, so that you can't tamper with the investigation. So can't go, home, and I wasn't allowed to be in touch with Paige neither. Um, and then they could like go through all my phones, all my computers, all my hard drives, and see what happened,
I
basically.
assume they found the picture.
Um, they found pictures, that I had of Paige, but not the specific pictures that I sent, because they were screenshots of like they weren't pictures that she had sent me, which is also something that I've always tried to make clear, because she got a lot of slack, being accused that why are you sending him pictures, but it was like me taking screenshots. So
Right. What happened when you were released from jail? Uh, is this when you came back to YouTube?
no. So what happened is then I was under like strict conditions where I still wasn't allowed to talk to her, because they still hadn't like made the full decision of what was going to happen. And I think it took about 2-3 months until they kind of made the final hammer slam of like, okay, this is what you're guilty of, and this is
And
what.
you were still in Belgium, weren't you?
Yeah,
All right. Okay.
I've
So
been
I
in
just wanted to
Belgium. I've
clarify.
been in Belgium this whole time. I've been in Belgium this whole time.
You did you move to Belgium, or have you've always been in Belgium? How's this worked with your life? If you don't mind me asking.
Oh, I've been up and down throughout my entire life.
Did you ever move to England for a bit, or was that just a visit page? You never lived in England at all,
No,
did you?
I never lived in England. No, no.
Okay. Okay, I think that's good to clarify up. Is there anything else you want to say about that whole experience with the Belgian police? Did anything actually, like, did you didn't get a fined or anything?
No, not. I got what's it called? Like release with probation,
Okay.
and that's ending in 2023 or 22.
What does that mean when it ends for you then?
Well, because I got like obviously because I had, an intimate relationship with Paige, it was considered
A minor.
yeah, like a statutory rape,
Okay.
right? So I got charged with statutory rape, which I know it's just juggling with words, but it's different than being charged with rape.
No,
And
I
rape,
understand. In your
yeah,
shoes, it is awkward because, yes, you done fucked up, and talking about yourself in this way must be fucking horrible. Saying that I've got charged for this and this, like,
well,
yeah, it
yes
is.
and no. It's just that on the internet, it's obviously been blown to the proportion where people say that I raped a minor, which sounds like I forced myself onto her, but as weird as it may sound, it was consensual. Like I didn't rape her. It's considered statutory rape because I was in a position of power, so to say, because I was like a YouTuber and she was under 18. And although, she can consent to have sex, but because of that power dynamic, makes it statutory rape, right?
And I assume you haven't spoken to her in a very long time.
No, she wrote to me while I was being investigated, actually, for about 6, 7 months. She would send me a letter every day. And then, yeah, and then at the end, just before I got released, she stopped sending letters.
So you haven't heard from her since. How long is that then? How long's it been?
Um, it was just before she turned 18, I think. So, and this was what, I don't know.
Is that 2019 or something like that? I don't know.
Mm, no, because if it was no, because it would have been 2018, 20,
2018.
2017, 2018, yeah. Because 2017 she would have been 18, so it was like 2017
And did
after.
her video come out during this time when she was writing to you? Because she made a video saying how you were
She made
abusive
it.
and
No,
manipulative.
she did that afterwards.
She did that afterwards. And after seeing that, I assume that I'm surprised you never reacted to that video specifically on your channel because you had been reacting to other clips. How comes you never really responded to that video?
Um, I think there was a part of me that felt like it could be seen the wrong way, where I'm trying to somehow victim shame her, where I'm trying to like say, oh, this is wrong, that is wrong. Although there were things that weren't true, it's not up to me as the person, that put her through what she went through to decide what was traumatic for her and what wasn't, right? It was too sensitive for me to react to something where that was her way of expressing her pain, and I felt like I just needed to let that be the way that it was. Were there certain things that she said that weren't true? Sure, but we're taking that up in the ongoing now court case where she wants a certain amount of money to compensate, financial losses that she feels like she's had because of that situation. And we're having those back and forths where I'm trying to explain, where certain things aren't 100% the way that she claims them to be. But I feel like in the public view, because there's what's happening between the court, myself, and Paige the Panda, and then there's also what's happening on YouTube. And in the court of the public opinion, I don't think it's my place in any shape or form to try and justify to people, what is right or what is wrong about what she's saying. If she wants to say the things that she's saying, then she needs to say those things. And if at any point in time I gave my viewers or anybody the impression that I was trying to make her out to be a liar, that was never the case. There was just certain things that I was getting frustrated about that I wanted to point out that weren't true. But like I said in the beginning, of what we're doing here, I basically just, it's like I wanted to focus more on the lies rather than the truth. But things did happen. It's just that certain things were taken out of context and blown out of proportion. But in retrospect, does it matter? With what I've done, and this is what I've always wondered, is like, if what I've done is bad enough, why lie about it?
But you have lied about the situation, haven't you?
In what way?
When you told Colossal that you were suing Keemstar.
Yeah, I mean, I thought we were talking about Paige's video.
I meant in general of this situation. Sorry, I should have clarified. I meant like
Yeah,
lying
in,
this entire
in general,
situation.
yeah, in general, I've done a lot of misdirection, and I've done a lot of like trying to weasel my way out of the situation in any desperate attempt that I could. I really, really did. I think in a complete desperation, I try to grasp wherever I could to try and sway people one way or another, because nothing could really be proven and still can't, you know. But it's come to a point where it really, like, it's so old, and it's so like, there's no point for me to try to salvage something that, even when the truth being told, like I've told you so far, it's just like, okay, well, that's fucked up still, you know. Like, regardless of what you try to lie about, the truth is still bad.
Okay, I see that. So with this whole situation up to now, from the very beginning, this is going to be a bit of a hard/easy question where it's a one-word answer. But I was going to ask, do you think you're guilty? Like, just in general.
I think I'm definitely guilty of being extremely, like, self-centered and egotistical, and just trying somehow in some way to come out
But
victorious when
I think we know what I mean. I mean like the word that was being obviously spread around, like the whole reason that you got a lot of shit was for being called a pedophile. You
I
obviously
don't.
you wouldn't.
I'm not. That's the thing. Like, I'm not a pedophile. You know. Um, I hope I can at some point share.
But you can understand why people will draw that conclusion when you're in your 20s, like 28, dating a 16-year-old.
I guess. Yeah. I mean, like I
Like,
try to like I try to explain earlier. You know, if my intent, my sole intent from the beginning, was try to get with an underage person because that's what I'm into, then I can see where, because pedophilia is that's a deeply rooted thing. Like, that means that I am consistently and always attracted to children. You know?
it actually, just being attracted to one child solely can still be pedophilia. Like, you don't need to be attracted to every person, like every child on the planet. Like, being gay doesn't mean you're going to be attracted to every man on the planet. It just means that you like that gender, of course. Like, if you know what I
Yeah, but
mean.
you see, here's where, like, I've said this before, but I'll try to explain it again. It's like, I wasn't attracted to the fact that she was a child. Like, that was not my attraction
Right,
towards her.
you claim to have
She
an
just she,
emotional bond.
she just so happened to be younger than me. But that's where I made, the immoral, like, decision to be like, this is okay. Where it's like, oh, it's fine, we'll get through this. By the time that she turns, a certain age, it will be fine.
And you
But
were
I
going to
work
become public when she turned 18 about the whole situation, weren't
that
you?
yeah, that was the plan initially. That was like initially the thing where it's like we were gonna soldier it through, because even after Keemstar made the video, she still stuck by me. She still tried to be there for me. She still, ran my channel while I was being investigated. She posted videos for me. She stuck quite a long time with me after everything was exposed.
So where's her real mother then in this situation?
Um, it's a delicate situation for her, because I think her mother is also not like 100%, you know. But that's not really for me to say nor here or there. It's just that I know that she struggles quite a bit, with her family. Um, you know, One of the first things that she admitted to me was that her dad had been, sentenced for having raped a 6-year-old. So she was very sensitive to the whole pedophile side of things. I don't think that you'd want to date a pedophile when that that's something that happened to your dad. So she had a really bad relationship with her dad. Um, I think it was it's such a layered situation that has so much nuance to it that if you boil it down to age difference, then yeah, the question becomes like, are you guilty of being a pedophile because of the age difference? Then I gotta say, like, okay, maybe by definition, and yes, but a pedophile is someone that's attracted to children. I wasn't attracted to her because she was a child. I was just attracted, not necessarily even attracted to her, but I kind of like used her to fill in a void of loneliness that I was having back then. And like I've said before, very immorally, I decided that it was okay to do that with a girl her age, which I should have had the maturity and the moral compass back then to say, like, okay, no, this is fucked up. You can find other people that are willing to be there for you and, fill that void. But I fell into my own trap of allowing myself to kind of create this intimate relationship with someone that was always there and always willing to be there as well, you know. And I took advantage of that. But I
But
didn't but I didn't necessarily take advantage of her because she was young. It could
okay,
have been it could have been anyone.
but
It
like you
just
just
so
said, by definition, technically, wouldn't it be pedophilia then? But I wouldn't say a pedophile is someone that's attracted to everyone that's young, would you?
well, there's different words I think for different age groups, right? Like I think a pedophile is like specifically from, a certain age to like 8 years old, and then someone that's attracted to teenagers is it's a different word as well. Like you could look it up real quick. Like someone that's attracted, like if you really want to be technical, um, there is a different word than pedophilia for someone that is attracted to kids like age from 12 to, let's say, 18 or so, or 16, 17, right? That's a completely different word. But we just
But
use pedophile because it's just the most known word.
but I
So
I
no, so by definition, I'm not a pedophile because I'm not attracted to children.
obviously no one can disprove that because it's what you're saying. You're claiming that you're not attracted to children, but obviously people are going to draw that conclusion because you did technically date a child, if you want to call her that. 16, would you say a 16's child?
Definitely, yeah. 16-year-old is definitely a child, yeah.
So you have been in a relationship in your late 20s with a child. It. I'm not trying to make this hard, but
No, no,
I am
you're
going
not.
by definition. I hope you understand what I'm saying here.
Yeah, but you see, it's like if you say I had sexual feelings towards her because she was a child is incorrect. The fact that she was a child,
Okay,
you know,
technic that should be that should be irrelevant though because it still happened. Like it doesn't like by law it doesn't matter what your feelings are. If it happened, it happened.
well,
If
it
you
does matter because by definition of law, I was not considered a pedophile.
yes, but that wouldn't let you off the crime. If you
But
like having
it
sex
did.
with a
It
9-year-old
did.
and saying you're not attracted to them doesn't get you out of
No,
it.
no, no, no.
In
But you
most,
see, that's where the difference is. There's a
I'm not
difference
saying you
between
had
a
sex with Paige
9-year-old.
Panda. I know
No,
I
no,
know that
no.
didn't happen.
No. There's a difference between a 9-year-old and a 16-year-old.
Okay, 16 or whatever then.
The different, no, just by law. If we're talking about law, I'm not talking morally. It's like immoral either way, whether 9 or 16. Like it's still fucked up. But I'm just saying by law, because she was 16, it wasn't considered rape.
And that's why you're not in prison. Correct?
I mean, is that why I'm not in prison? I wasn't sentenced to the full extent of what people think I did because I didn't do that, And she's by law, and again, this is just by law. I'm not justifying it. By law, she's not considered a child. She's a teenager. Well, at the time, she's 22 now. She's older.
I think she's actually 21.
Pretty sure she's 22.
I may say that just because I literally just looked up looked her up in general, and it says she's 21 because her birthday is her birthday in July, correct?
No, that's
it was not in July. It's not. What month was she born?
I know it's 1999, and like October, November or something.
Okay, well that's just a load of horseshit what I just read there. Never mind. Moving on from Page the Panda, you obviously had your channel terminated with around 850 subscribers, 850k subscribers.
Mm-hmm.
Correct. Was that terminated due to a video you had uploaded, like the Dear Friend video? Did YouTube crack down on what was going on and didn't want to hurt, obviously, their reputation and delete the channel?
Yeah, I think that's more what happened. I don't think there was a specific video or anything.
Okay, then technically, since now you've got your channel that you have now, wouldn't it make sense to have that channel back?
It would make sense, but
I'm not saying that's what should happen. That's what shouldn't happen. Like I don't know.
I don't
understand. YouTube's a very weird company.
It is because I don't even know why I got my current channel back. So.
Right. Well, anyway, that channel got terminated, and you moved on to the channel that you have now, which did get terminated, but now it's back. And then you started doing these reaction videos where you would respond to some of the videos. It was around 11 months ago. That's when me and you had I wouldn't even say it was a little fiasco. You literally just read one of my comments on your video, and I actually can't remember what the comment was word for word, but I remember briefly.
Well, it was your typical like bait comment where it's like, oh, I bet you.
Oh, 1,000,000%, it was bait.
Yeah.
I even said that in the video. It was bait.
It's like when people say like, oh, I bet you won't respond to this. It's just.
I won't lie. Yes, it was bait, but at the same time, I was hoping to get an actual response to what I said, but after 11 months, you tend to not really give a shit about the question. I don't remember what I asked.
Yeah, exactly.
So I don't actually.
Yeah, it's because I think it's because I was moderating my comment section.
Yeah, and I just so happened to be the first one in the video.
I think so.
Thanks for the shout out, by the way.
Yeah, no worries.
Anytime. Yeah, I mean, we should
sarcastically say.
No, okay, then your channel was terminated, I don't know how long after that. I think it was like after I made my video last year. It was like a month after, wasn't it? You were terminated.
I'm really not sure.
It wasn't that long. And then after that, did you get an actual statement from YouTube saying why that channel was deleted?
Nope, never.
You didn't get an email, no strikes, no warnings?
No.
Like,
not really.
Okay, that's interesting. I feel like they would have. Did you not?
But I'm pretty sure Colossus Crazy kind of tweeted about it, saying that he got in touch with YouTube and got my channel taken down. So he must have known someone, and maybe a year later that person isn't there anymore. I don't know. I don't know how things work.
No, I don't know either.
I'd kind of buried the hatchet and just let it be,
Well, if it was your choice, would you? This is going to sound like a stupid question. If it was your choice, would you actually reinstate your original channel? Or do you want to leave that life behind you?
That's a difficult question because obviously there's a lot, like just from a YouTuber's perspective, there's like a lot of memory and a lot of, history. And I think I had almost over 1,000 videos, 1,300 videos.
A lot of money too.
Yeah, that's not my biggest concern.
No, I was just saying, you know, that was you were definitely paying the bills back then.
Yeah, it
Even
was
though fucking CPM was a bit shit in 2015, 2016 compared to what it is now. But we didn't have demonetization then, so I guess you could say money was better then.
yeah, wasn't it better then?
Would you say it was better then?
I mean, the biggest month I ever had back then, I remember it was like August, July. It was like 95,000 in 1 month.
Fucking hell. You've
So I
definitely.
don't know. I don't know if in comparison to today's YouTube,
Well,
how well.
I think I'm the wrong person to ask. I'm definitely not making that kind of money, but
Yeah.
I know if I was, I wouldn't be living with my parents. Anyway, moving on. Uh, okay, your channel is back now. What's your plan with this channel now? Are you gonna go back to doing reaction videos to respond to people? Are you gonna try and move away from that? Because the videos are still
No.
up.
Yeah. Well, the entire like I just found out today, that the entire channel came back, and then that's when I got a notification that you responded to a comment that I had posted, and I was just like, oh, people are, I guess, already reacting. Um, I I'm letting it all sink in because I had buried the hatchet. I was pretty much done with the whole thing. I even made an Instagram post about it where I just kind of explained where I think the best thing I can do, for everybody involved is to stop pretending like I'm gonna do this type of comeback or anything, and just kind of let the situation be where it's at, and just leave it at rest and just let it be, right?
Right.
Um, so I think, best case scenario, I'll just upload, the old videos that are still lingering in private, and just leave it there for as long as it can be there. And I guess I don't like it's so weird. It's like something that shouldn't be there that's there. So I don't know what to do with it. It's just there.
I feel like if I was to give you advice in anything with this type of situation, I know listening to my advice, but I would say, wouldn't it be a wise decision to just literally just bury the hatchet and just leave, and just get rid of the videos and not delete the channel, but just leave due to the reputation now you have. I know it's obviously it's horrible to say that, but
No, it's not. And I think in a way I have left. I think that it's situations like we're having right now that kind of just keeps that fire burning, right? Even
I
when I even when
yeah.
I came back, even when I came back 2 years ago, like I was done. I wasn't looking to do a comeback, right? I wasn't looking to like gather a new audience, or grow my audience, or I was just looking to post my old videos, um, from time to time, make some new hide and seeks, and then just let my old audience, enjoy something that once was. But people kept, poking back and making videos about me, and where's LionMaker now videos, and rehashing, everything, and bringing things back up and regurgitating that, old information. And I guess like back then, because I was also just in a completely erratic state, when I started to react, thinking like, oh, I'm gonna explain the whole situation from my point of view. Um, that's definitely not the route that I want to go. I think I'm gonna find a balance between, like you said, like just leave it, which I feel like I have. I feel like it's been over a year.
I
Um,
think yeah, it would be a good idea for you,
it's like
mentally and physically to not.
yeah, I'm not looking to do like this big like, oh, I'm gonna speak up, and from the things that I've said also here, it's like I have no place. There's no place for me to come back, um, because it's always just kind of like what we did. It's always this kind of like nitpicking at what does a word actually mean, and what is it, what actually happened, and in retrospect, like what's the nuance of the situation.
Well, I guess everyone has their own opinion on it. You could say.
Yeah, because some people draw the line at certain things, and it's like, well, you did this, and I think one of the bigger mistake and offenses, and being offensive towards my audience, is kind of trying to twist and bend, and trying to weasel with the situation.
Yeah, okay, that's fair enough. Something I wanted to bring up but never got around to it. Sorry about that. Was I've a video that you uploaded on your original channel. I think you might know what I'm about to say. Do you remember the Dear Friend video?
Yeah.
Was that the video where you declared you were gonna sue multiple different creators? Was that a different one?
No, I think that was
A different one. Did you actually end up suing anyone?
No, no.
So it was just still talk at the time.
Yeah, yeah.
It was a scare tactic you did.
I don't know what it was, to be honest, back then. I mean, I think it was mainly that a lot of people were telling me like, "Oh, you should sue. You need to sue people." And then I was like, "All right, I'm gonna go sue everybody." But I don't
Like,
know.
would you have you never threatened
I
to
think
sue
I think I
Colossal?
think I think we've all learned in the last 6 years that you can't just sue someone. You know.
Yes, I've actually had a couple of lawsuits come threatened at me myself from big creators. One with 3 million subscribers, so you know, it's definitely a good scare tactic to do. But you know,
Yeah, it's I don't know. It costs a lot of money. It takes a lot of time. And I
ironically
think
enough, he was a Minecraft YouTuber.
and I think a lot of courts don't even know what the fuck's going on YouTube and what it even is all about. Like they don't really know what to do.
Yeah, well, okay. Something else I want to touch on is there wasn't just Paige at the time that was being talked about with stuff. There was people that had come out. I can't remember their names because they were ridiculous names like My Fantastic Giraffe or something. Like everyone had weird names back in 2015. I don't know, something.
Mhm.
You were in associates with some of these people, and you had actually shown some of the emails you had received on Colossal's live stream. Not live stream. Interview he did with you. You showed him that you were backstabbed by certain people, and were these people that were minors and that were just saying that you abused them or something like that? I was always confused with that side of the story. It was LionMaker. I was in his videos, but he was using me all along. Like, do you know what I'm referring to?
Oh, not specifically, no. I do know that there were cases where people were kind of going back and forth and even kind of threatening me, saying like, "Oh, I'm gonna say this," and then later on sending me an email apologizing because people were kind of going back and forth depending on how well I was doing and how well my comeback was being received. And if things seemed to be going all right and my views were up and likes were up and people were being positive, then people were more inclined to be on my side. And then as soon as the tide would change, then people would change like their narrative, and certain people would keep going back and forth, back and forth. And that's what I had kind of showed Colossal. Was an interview from a specific person. I forgot their, like, just like you, like there's so many people, I forgot their specific username, but of them just kind of going back and forth and then apologizing for lying and saying sorry. And I mean, I heard there were like Skype groups at the time of people trying to get together and all lie together about me about certain things. It never came to fruition. It never came out. No one ever talked about it. But those things were in the works. Like people were trying to kind of like. I've even had supposedly ex-friends. Like Keemstar made a video about my ex-friends, like people that were supposedly my friends that went to speak out against me, when those were people that I barely knew or barely like interacted with, and people that watch my channel know that. I don't think MZ or Minigod or any of the people that were really close to me ever spoke out against me. Never really.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
It was
Okay.
just like random people. And you know how the Minecraft community is. I mean, I don't know if you know, but it's just like there's so many people.
Yeah, they
Everybody.
like threatening to sue you too.
It's like there's so many people out there. There's so many things going on, and
Yeah, yeah.
and anybody can say anything at one point. And once you're labeled a certain thing, then it doesn't matter. You can say whatever. Just like Keemstar, you can go to Leafy and say like, oh yeah, I took him to court and I sent him to jail and now he's back. And this is where Keemstar steps on his own foot, where he goes like, I don't understand why he's back. And it's like, well, yeah, you don't understand because none of what you're saying makes any sense and is either true.
I feel like you and Keemstar, if it ever came about, should have a private conversation, maybe in a voice call, about this, because all of this with you and Keemstar, it just seems to be, oh, but he said this and he said that. It's always people passing on information to one to the other. Like,
No, but I think the problem with Keemstar, especially if you see what's going on with him right now, I mean, isn't he dating a 20-year-old and he's 39? So
yeah, but I think that's a bit different, since that isn't illegal in anywhere. Especially because 20 is an adult.
Well, technically speaking, and again, I'm not trying to justify it, but just by law, what Paige and I had was not illegal.
It's not illegal, no, but she wasn't an adult. With Keemstar, it's legal and she's an adult.
A lot of people would argue that a 20-year-old is not an adult.
A lot of people, yeah, like Trisha Paytas would state, "Oh, yeah, it's not an adult." It's not an adult. You're not an adult. Yeah, okay.
Like I said, it's nuance, you know. It's
by law, 18 is an adult. Like, this is literally in the UK where Paige lives. 18, you can drink. You can literally drink alcohol here. You are an adult. Keemstar's girlfriend is 20. That's 2 years above that.
Yeah, but this is where I think we're trying to go with, like, rather than what the law says.
Don't get me wrong. No, I'm not saying I think Keemstar's choice in that was right. You know, it's whatever. It's not illegal.
Yeah. No. But what I'm saying is that if we would just want to go to purely by law, then I didn't do anything wrong, right? But if we go by a moral stance, it was really kind of messed up.
But there was parts which was against the law, in your part.
The part is that
like posting the picture,
posting the picture online, that's illegal.
Which isn't. We can both see that it isn't a little thing, is it?
No, it's not. No, I'm not trying to take away from anything.
No.
But if you want to say that the relationship I had with Paige was illegal, it wasn't. It was immoral, but it wasn't illegal.
Yeah, the age of consent in the UK is 16, which people can have their opinion on that. I'm not going into that.
No, again, there's a difference if we're talking about morality.
Morality, yes, it is wrong.
Right, it's immoral what I did.
It's
100%.
not.
So the question is also like, I don't think Keemstar, to go back to that, is looking to have an in-depth conversation about what happened or what didn't when he is willing to blatantly lie about stuff. And I think he feeds off that. I think that's the kind of thing he does.
I feel like Keemstar comes across as an absolute sociopath online, but from what I've heard, I know I've spoken to people that have... In fact, you know Baited podcast back in 2016, which was Keemstar, Colossal, and Tommy C. You know those three individuals?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I know Colossal and Keemstar. I don't know who.
Well, Tommy C was a part of that podcast, and I'm actually in cahoots. Well, I have spoken to Tommy C before, and he's spoken about that. And behind the scenes, Keemstar can be a real genuine guy, and obviously, I feel like you two could talk about your issues with this whole law thing, because it's really just online. It's like two 12-year-olds arguing on Twitter. Why can't you just get into a voice call and do it privately, kind of thing?
Yeah, it's odd because I feel like Keemstar kind of took it as a personal, thing for him to do. Because I never and still don't really have anything against Keemstar aside from, maybe the anger and resentment of just kind of like the malice behind the way he aggressively, because for a long time he lied about Paige's age as well,
How old did he say she was?
Like when he knew that she was 16, he was like saying that she was 14, and then he changed it to 15.
Are you 1,000,000% sure he knew that? I'm not saying this excuses it, but are you sure that he knew it was 16? Like, can you actually tell me that he knew the actual age?
Can I be sure of anything? But why would he say 15 when she's not? How could he then just go
Keemstar obviously has this reputation of calling people pedophiles. Which
but
does remove a bit of
it was
credibility
also,
with it, but...
It was also a time where it was kind of convenient because he just talked about Bashaverse and L for Lee, and then suddenly it's like, oh, here's another one. There's LionMaker.
Yeah, there was.
So it's just kind of like I just kind of fell in that butterfly effect or that dominoes effect where I was just like his next hit.
But do I think that Keemstar did anything wrong in reporting the situation? No, and I feel like people that think that is something wrong with that is also they're wrong themselves, because obviously he can do it. Like if what you're saying is true and he did get the age wrong, whether he knew it or not, that is obviously wrong. I've never heard him actually speak about this or claim that he got the age wrong, but that is obviously wrong in his part. But it doesn't make
But yeah,
what he did
I
report
think
on it wrong.
Keemstar. To be honest, Keemstar's like, it doesn't matter what Keemstar said about the situation or whether it's right for him to call me out or not. You know, what happened happened. I admitted to it, like, you know, here, and regardless of Keemstar, you know.
Okay, since you brought it up, I just want to ask the question: do you think Keemstar dating a 20-year-old is wrong since he's 39? Do you think it's
No,
wrong?
I think it's weird. I think it's kind of hypocritical on his part. You know,
How do you
he's
think it's
he
hypocritical?
because I feel like he's been very judgmental towards other people that have had an age gap,
Oh
right?
yeah, most of the time when he's had an opinion on it though, wouldn't you say it has been kind of like with you it was just above the age of 15, and with Bashaverse there was some definite shit there. With Mini Lad, that's even fucking worse than the stuff we're talking about now. But
Yeah, I don't know about those situations, but
there's other creators
it's
too.
just odd.
Don't
It's just
I
odd. I think he's putting himself in a
I guess
weird
you could
situation.
I would even say it's ironic because what he's
There's a
doing
debate
isn't.
about it. There's a debate about it. Clearly, people, you know,
There is definitely a debate about it.
disagree.
I think it's. I wouldn't do.
Um,
I'd feel weird about doing it myself personally, but I don't think there's anything wrong with it or illegal with it, and it shouldn't.
no, I
I
think
don't
it's
think
okay.
there's.
I think that girl, if she's, you know, if she's well on her feet and, you know, she's thinking straight, and I don't know. It's so hard to tell from scratching the surface, right? I think it would
Well,
be kind of hypocritical on my part if I judged his relationship, considering that,
right. Yeah, that's fair enough.
like, it's considering I find that people, you know, judge what happened between Paige and myself also kind of sometimes a little harsh and unfairly, right?
Well, I'm gonna assume you're one of H3's biggest fans, because obviously he despises Keemstar.
No, no, not really.
I'm
Like,
sure.
I don't know why people think I hate Keemstar. I don't, you know, I really don't. Was I upset with, you know, like the snowball
I mean,
effect?
whether you're right or wrong in the situation, you are human, and you definitely you have a right to hate him. I don't think you need to
No,
play a
no.
moral ground here and say, "Oh, I don't
No,
hate him."
it's not a moral ground. It's just I really have no reason to hate him. I really don't.
I mean, you don't have a good. I mean, you definitely have a reason to hate him.
No, no, I'm indifferent to him. I think that's even worse than
But
hate.
he also
I
has
don't
a
really
reason
care
to
much.
hate you too, since he cares a lot about his community and he doesn't want anyone. I guess you could say a pedophile in the community. So I guess he could obviously have his
I don't
problems with
think
you.
I don't think he cares, to be honest.
You don't think
I
he
think he's
cares?
really no. I think he's indifferent. I don't think he has that like emotional attachment to hating me. I don't think so.
I
No.
don't think he hates you now. I
That
was
would
talking
put
about.
that would put me in a special place in his life, and I don't think I occupy that.
No, not many. I don't think he thinks about you daily. If I'm going to be honest, but
No, of course not. Of course not. I think hate, like, I'm quite indifferent to Keemstar. Like, obviously I don't agree with a lot of things that he said, but does that take away from what I did? It doesn't, you know. But that, like, my disagreement of what Keemstar says specifically shouldn't deviate or make it seem like I'm trying to take away from what I did do and what did happen. And I think that's where a lot of people, you know, make the mistake into thinking that if I'm pointing out something that ain't true, like I said, oh, Keemstar said this and that's not true, that's not me trying to take away from what happened and, you know, or and what I did. That's just me pointing out that specific thing that was wrong. But that doesn't change anything. I want to
okay.
make it very clear, like the relationship that I had, you know, with Paige at the time was immoral. It was completely wrong. It was extremely immature on my part. If anything, it was controlling, it was abusive, and it just had no place to ever happen in any context, any situation whatsoever. I took advantage of someone that was in a vulnerable state because of her age, and I used that to fill a void that I selfishly needed,
Wouldn't
felt
that,
like I needed
sorry to
filled.
interrupt, but wouldn't that technically be pedophilia? If taking advantage of someone vulnerable because of their age?
It wasn't because of her age. It was because of her vulnerable state. It just so happened that her vulnerable state is also attached to her age. But I guess to dig my hole even deeper, I could say it could have been, a 25-year-old that was extremely vulnerable that I could have like taken advantage of because
When by taking advantage, what do you mean? What happened then for you to be manipulated, to call yourself a manipulator? What did you actually do?
well, I wasn't like manipulating in the sense where I was calculating and, you know, planning, the relationship, or I was trying to kind of make it happen because that's what I wanted. Everything was very circumstantial, you know. I was doing YouTube, people were around me. I felt lonely. She was around me the most. She was there because she was homeschooled, right? So she was always there. Whenever I needed someone to help me with a video or to help me prepare a video, she was always there. And over time, I just grew an attachment to her being around me that I then, as an adult, should have drawn a line and said, like, okay, listen, we're getting it. This is going a little bit too far, and I'm taking this too far. Let's draw the line and stop it. I didn't do that. That's where I took advantage of the fact that she didn't have the capacity to draw that line. And I just went like, okay, she's there. I'm lonely, and I'm just gonna use this person to fill my void of loneliness, right? Now, again, it's difficult to stress to people that it could have been anyone. It didn't specifically have to be the fact that she was underage. She just so happened to be underage. People think I targeted Paige because she was underage. I didn't target Paige.
I
Like
think
I
that's always going to be up for debate, though, no matter how many times you
exactly, yeah.
talk about. But
I
it's a.
settled. I settled for Paige because she was always
I
around.
think it's. Don't you think it's fair enough for people to talk about it though, in that way? Since that's kind of
From an
what.
outside from an outside perspective, I can see where people want to have their opinions about it. But from where I stand, I know where I come from. Like if seeking out an underage girl was like the thing that was something that I was always pursuing, then that's something that I would always do, have done, keep doing, right? It was never my intent to be with an underage girl. Like that was never the goal. Like
Okay.
it just so happened to be that way.
Okay.
And it sucks. It sucks. That at the time, where I was thinking to myself like, okay, well, is this okay or is this not okay? And then I came to the conclusion where I was like, okay, we'll just soldier through it, and then once you're of age, it will be fine. You know, I had a lot of moral dilemmas within myself. I was like, well, my mom was 24 when she met my, 44-year-old dad. It was 20 years difference between them two. I'm like, what's 11 years by the time that she's 20? So it wasn't so much that I was like looking forward to finding my next victim of underage girl. Like I was more than happy and willing to kind of grow the relationship that I had started with her.
Okay. All right. Well, I feel like if I was to talk about this again, because I feel like we've already spoke about this, we'll just go around in circles since there is.
Yeah.
It's always going to be your word against other people's in this case. Don't you agree? Like, there's nothing that you could actually ever prove what you're saying is the truth.
No,
Like, it's,
I don't think I'm trying to prove anything. I'm trying to give like
yeah,
con-
I know what you're doing. I know what you're doing. But I mean, I meant
I'm
for other
just trying to give
people.
context of how I felt back then, and obviously, I don't think it justifies anything. You know, it's just I'm trying to make the difference between what so happened to be and what people are trying to make out to be. And yeah, it's I think a lot of people watching or whoever's going to be watching this might not even have like themselves the maturity or the capability of understanding the psychology behind all of it.
Well,
That's why
I
we just simplify it, to oh, that's pedophilia.
well, I
When
hope for some people this is going to be kind of a conclusion if they are watching this, because you've admitted that it's wrong. You've admitted that you wish it never happened. Essentially, obviously, you wish
no,
it never happened,
I
but
would
there's a lot
definitely
of
not.
regret on your part.
Of course, yeah, of
But
course.
in a lot of
Because
people's eyes, it is going to be unforgivable.
yeah, I can understand that, and I'm not looking to be forgiven.
No, I can see you're not because you are planning on leaving, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm not looking to be forgiven because, if anything, that's something for Paige the Panda herself to process. Um, and that's a choice that she needs to make for herself.
Are you
I
ever
don't
going to
think it's a,
reach out to her again?
I think that would be kind of insulting if I did. I think if she wanted to reach out, that would be her choice. I think she needs to heal. She needs to process what happened. She needs to figure out as well, like for herself, you know, that she had no partake in this situation. She was, young, impressionable, and she just wanted to impress me. That's the only thing she ever wanted to do.
And I
Um,
assume your feelings for her have now dissolved emotionally. Like,
well, yeah, because in retrospect, like looking back, the feelings that I had for her weren't genuine. You know, I wasn't. That wasn't like you. You don't make someone go through what I made her go through if you genuinely cared about them, right?
yeah, okay, I think that's quite a good way of putting it. Yeah, I agree.
Like if I genuinely cared for her the way that I love my family, I love my friends, then it would have been very easy for me to draw that line and just be like, no, this is wrong. But I think like I've said before, I was in such a selfish state of mind that I didn't care much. You know, I've only been like, this is, I don't know if this is important to mention or not, but I've only been sober for 6 months and 16 days now. So it's the first time in almost, like 15 years, like 16 years, the first time in 16 years that I've had the clarity to see things the way that I'm seeing them now. When I was heavily drinking all the time, and then she was taking the hit of my drinking, and then my, like being vocally abusive and insulting her and calling her names because I'm just drunk out of my mind, and then waking up the next day half remembering what I said, and then giving her a half-ass apology because I emotionally I just had no legs to stand on or to know the damage that I was causing. And that's why I was being extremely selfish, because I was drinking because I had a lot of resentments from, my past life, and I was taking it out on this poor girl that just wanted to be there for me, you know. And she just became a punching bag, really.
I, yeah, I'm glad you're being honest about it now. I mean,
And
I
this and
won't
this
lie. Go on.
this could have happened, and I think a lot of people that have witnessed this, within adults, like this didn't happen because she was 16. This happened because she was there. Like there were many other relationships that I was having at the time. One was River Girl. She was an adult. She had kids, and it was the same problem. I was being exactly the same with her. She went through the exact same thing Paige did, except that the difference is that River Girl was an adult.
But
You know,
you can see that it makes it worse because
of
of her
course, of
age.
course, no, no, no. It makes it worse, for Paige, right? But what I'm trying to say is that I wasn't specific. Like if anything, I'm just digging myself deeper in the hole, because all I'm trying to say is that it wasn't because she was underage that I did those things to her, right? it makes it worse that she was underage, that those things happened to her.
Yeah.
Yes. Those things weren't targeted at her because of her age. And I think this is where people, confuse, where it's like, oh, you chose Paige because she's underage. I didn't chase.
I understand if that isn't the reason, but then again, it still happened with a 16-year-old.
It still happened.
I don't see a way out of that since it
No,
happened.
there's no way out of it. It's just there's like a. For me personally, that is what differentiates between, being a pedophile and then just being an abusive person. I was extremely abusive. I was extremely controlling, but there's a huge chunk of me that's just like, you know, people can keep debating and calling me a pedophile all they want. It's never going to change the fact that I'm not. Was I abusive? Was I manipulative? Yes, that I can't deny. Was I a bad person for not having the moral compass back then to draw the line, whether it be Paige, whether it be River Girl, whether it be anyone, There was even this girl, the Eva, crazy gal, that got caught up in my, abusive state of just drinking and being melodramatic and having my ups and downs and just being all over the place, with my emotions towards these people. It was never like the only consistency between, my past relationships that I've had with those different people is that I treated them all like the same. I didn't treat River Girl with more respect because she was an adult and Paige less respect because she was underage. What makes it fucked up is that Paige was underage, and I didn't have the moral compass to draw that line and be like, okay, this is where I need to step back, because this is a lot more damaging towards Paige than it would be to any other adult, because an adult could recognize the abusive signs and say, okay, I don't want to be a part of this, which is what River Girl did as well. She stepped away because she's an adult, she has her own kids, and she just went like, okay, I don't want to be a part of this because this is all over the place. But Paige didn't have that maturity to be able to save herself from, the things that I was doing. So it was much bigger than just a sexual thing. People always try to make it out to be like, oh, this was all about sexualizing.
Well, this brings me to another question. You guys met IRL twice, or was there more than twice?
It was 3 times.
It was 3 times. Okay. In those times you met, there was no activity, like sexual activity going on at all, was it? Was there anything? There was. And this is when she was. Oh, sorry, my mic just banged. That was when she was 16, and you were still 20.
We only met after she turned 16. Yeah.
I didn't realize that stuff had happened so soon. In that for me is a bit different than just doing stuff online, if that makes sense.
Of course, I understand.
But don't you see why this is all happening with the law and people online going at you? Like you don't.
Of course. I'm not surprised. No, of course not. Of course not.
So what's?
I'm not sitting here questioning. Oh, why did I have to go to jail? Why? No, I faced the law and
you still are facing the law, aren't you? It's not over yet.
No, from the actual case, what happened between Paige and me, that's closed. There's just a different case right now where Paige is trying to get compensation, she's trying to get money.
She's trying to get money from you.
Yeah.
So when you went to court, I'm guessing it was you saw Paige. You went to court with Paige.
She only came, I think, the last time that I had to appear.
And what was go on, sorry.
Where she could say something, I could say something.
What was the conclusion of that case then?
Well, like I said, the conclusion was statutory rape, and
apart from that.
Statutory rape, and then the pictures that were posted on Twitter. You know, so it was categorized under the possession of child pornography and distribution of child pornography.
So you weren't put on
Which
any type of list?
no, no, because the thing is that people confuse when it says like possession of child pornography and distribution of child pornography. You think like, well, LionMaker had like 1,000 videos of different kids, like, you know, doing explicit things, and he was like trafficking, you know, pedophilia online. It was just those pictures of Paige specifically.
What was the date or year of the last court case where you said you were both there, Paige and yourself?
Now you're asking me something. I think it was 2017.
2017. Okay.
Something like that. Yeah.
And then what's actually going on now then with the law?
Right now we're just kind of going back and forth until in September on the 9th, I'm pretty sure, is when they will decide like how much that I need
Is it like it's definite that you are going to owe her money? It's just deciding how much.
Just deciding how much, yeah. Because there's always like when someone is like, you know, the victim of like statutory rape, there's always some sort of compensation.
How long has she been trying to get money from you then? Is this a recent occurrence or has this been going on for a while?
I think as soon as she could, yeah. I think it was like 6 months ago to a year ago, maybe.
Do you have to be 18 to do that?
No, I don't think so. No.
So she could have done it after you had finished your court.
I'm not sure, to be honest. I know my lawyer had warned me, said like, well, just prepare yourself, this can happen. And then we waited and waited, and then eventually it did. I think from her side of things, I think it was more that she needed to gather the money to be able to like hire a lawyer and, you know, do these things.
Right, I see. So you don't know the maximum amount of money you will be owing her?
She's asking for 50,000 euros.
She's asking for 50,000. Wow.
So yeah, so then it's just up to myself and my lawyer to just kind of retaliate, I guess, and just say like, well, I don't think 50,000 seems, you know, realistic.
Well, if it was up to you, how much would you offer then?
We did a counter offer of 2,500 euros.
Okay, obviously that is a bit lower compared to her offer, but
well, 50,000 is yeah.
That's interesting to me. I didn't realize that she could actually do that.
Yeah, I mean it's I mean we'll have to see how it all pans out. I think it's been twice though that we kind of we caught her in a lie and retaliated, and then she just kind of replied with like, "Oh, I don't remember." So it's then going to be up to the judge.
But if this is if she's doing this to you, then I think it's safe to say that she's not fond of you. Then.
Yeah, I don't. No. I think yeah. I mean, I can't. I don't know. I'm not Paige. You know, I don't know if she's being coerced by or manipulated by her sister-in-law. I don't. If this is something she wants. I don't know.
Well, it's hard to say since we haven't got her here to ask. But
well, no, yeah, I really don't know. All I know is that up until like 7 months into the investigation, she was, you know, still sending me very supportive letters and very kind letters.
Okay.
And then from one day to another, it just completely switched. Yeah.
All right. So, apart from the page situation, are there any online creators or YouTubers, if you want to say, that you're in contact with still, or have you not with anyone? Are you not in contact with anyone?
No. I think it's been years though. Like it's been since the whole fiasco in 2015, 2016 that I haven't really kept in touch with anybody.
Are there any creators out there that you still resent for making videos apart from Keemstar?
I say this genuinely. I don't think I've ever resented. I've always found it ridiculous. I've always found it.
Okay, what creators do you find ridiculous then? Still to this day, any?
Oh, I mean,
specific.
any of the creators that just regurgitated stuff
Because
that
obviously
was
the big
already said.
creators are the ones that got the most attention out of it, like such as Pyrocynical. I'm sure you saw his video.
Don't think so.
That
No.
was in 2015. That was I think it was like a 6 minute video, and that was him talking about it. Basically, his conclusion was that you're a pedophile. Everyone was talking about that. I actually have no idea if Leafy made a video or not on you.
Yeah, I think he did. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he did.
Obviously, I
Pretty
can't
sure.
look now since the channel's gone. I don't know
No,
if
I genuinely it's YouTube, it's the internet, and I think too many people take this thing, in a way that is just kind of different to what we experience. The way I experienced it, the way Paige is experiencing it. It's two different worlds. Absolutely, it's like what's happening on YouTube about my situation with Paige. It's like WWE, you know. It's like the more amplified, entertained, and kind of crazy version of it. And what's happening, behind the scenes and in the court is a lot more mellow and less dramatic. You
right.
know, like it's still extremely, bad. She suffered and probably still is suffering a lot because of it. Um, and but yeah, the internet and YouTube has just this way of kind of making everything a lot more sensationalized and a lot more crazier than what is actually going on. You know.
Okay. Well, I think we've covered basically. I wouldn't say everything, but most things, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I think so. I mean,
Unless there's anything else you want to mention before we close all this off.
no, I think I covered it. I
Like,
covered
say
it.
if Keemstar is watching this right now, is there anything you'd want to let him know?
To Keemstar.
Yeah, you got a message to Keemstar?
Show us those court papers, Keemstar. I'd love to see them.
Alright, well, you heard him, Keemstar. Please show the court papers. Everyone, thank you for watching this video. Thank you to LionMaker for coming on. Obviously, it's not easy for him to do this, but a lot of you watching this are going to say he's not a victim in anything, so fuck this, fuck what I'm saying, I guess. Anyway, LionMaker, thank you for coming on, and thank you again, bruh.
Yeah, no worries, man.